So as you know, Leroy was released in Tekken 7 as a DLC character, right? And I think the archetype that they said was Ip Man. I have actually no clue what that is. From the gist of the character and the movie clips I've seen titled Ip Man, it's just like a real punchy style, right? That's actually really loud. I'm not gonna lie. Let me turn my audio down. Right, it's just a real like punchy, throw a lot of hits. It's not like Bruce Lee because Bruce Lee's about like explosiveness, power, and precision, while Ip Man is like it's still about precision, but it's I don't know how to describe it. It's almost akin to it, but I know that like Bruce Lee's fighting style feels much more like knives, like use as least energy as possible while outputting the max amount of force. It's not max amount of force. It's like using the least amount of energy possible as far as like motion while using the necessary amount of force at the right spot to shut someone down. That's why like you do one punch 1,000 times, so you do it perfectly as fast as you can with absolute precision at the right spot, so you know exactly what you're doing. And Itman seems to have that same sort of like control, of course, because it's supposed to be like a high level martial artist. But like this feels to be like overwhelmed. Like this feels much more of like a I don't know. I don't know. I don't have enough experience with the fighting style to even say. It just feels a lot more like I don't want to say flashy. I guess flashy could be the word with like, but it's so bare bones. The point is in Tekken 7, Leroy was a menace. Like he was very good. Not in the sense of, like his animations were super cool, but in the sense that what's the word? In the sense that his frame data was really good. So everyone was playing, right? Then he ate like 40 or so nerfs back to back. Because what happened was there was a tournament where there was like 10 Leroys in like the top 10. Obviously that's a lie, but out of like top 15, there was 10 Leroys. And then out of top 10, there was like 7. And then people just kept picking Leroy over and over. Obviously, in a competition, right, you want to see diversity because there's so many different characters. If you're a viewer, you want to see diversity. If you're a game creator, you want to see diversity because that means like, oh, things are balanced. There's different options. And sure, this character may be the best, but someone's gonna be more comfortable, or they like the way this character's like tool set. So like risk reward stuff like that, and they just nerfed him badly. Like they nerfed him real bad. Hold on, let me plug in my controller because I heard that's gonna help with like the delay issues I've been having recently. So they nerf him right in Tekken 7, and then Tekken 8 comes out, and he's one of the main cast characters. You know what I mean? Which is kind of hilarious that they bring over Leroy but make him dog shit. No, seriously. They bring over Leroy and they make him dog shit. And I haven't played him to be able to back up the statement that he's dog shit. I just know that I haven't seen any high level Leroys, meaning people he's either not fun to play, has extremely like lackluster tools, on top of his animations not really being that cool, right? Uh, I can't say the cool part because that's preference, but like you get my point. Like frame data and damage, like there isn't a reason to play him. For example, you can be like, oh, Hayachi doesn't have any good poking. He has poor tracking, right? His neutral game is just terrible. Yeah, that may be true, but once he gets in and he starts comboing you, if he gets wall, you're taking 100 damage. If he gets in and starts comboing you, you take a bunch of damage into an Oki situation where you could just die. And I don't mean that like ironically. I don't mean that to be funny. I literally mean if he combos you and then you get up wrong, he can combo you again for even more damage. Since you're already at the wall. So in exchange for having a bad neutral, I'm back. Where was I? I don't quite remember. I just remember saying that like you don't see any high level Leroys. Like you see tons of Claudios because of like back one and the DP shit like that, high damage. You see some Yoshimitsu's, tons of Dragonals, tons of Alyssas. And again, every time I do one of these videos, I do it from the perspective of a Yoshi player. So you don't see tons of Yoshimitsu's, even though he has strong tools, because Yoshi's poking his neutrals off. But defensively, he's one of the like best defenders in the game. If you can do defensive reading well, you can just win with Yoshi. Just through like defensive reads alone, you can flash, you can get a counter hit launcher, right? You can spin away. You have tools as Yoshi, but in exchange, your poking's terrible. You're very linear, terrible tracking. But it's like Leroy and Leo are two of the characters. Leo, Leroy, and Lee are three characters that you just don't see ever. Or at least in like competitive sense, as far as like tournaments, obviously. But like high level videos of like, oh, I faced this guy like blah blah. It's never it's never a Lee. It's never a Leroy. I'll be back. Alright, so let's just hop into it. Heat burst, blah blah blah. Oh, we just start with heat burst. Or, oh no, we're still in the heat engager section. So when in heat, no, not in heat. We can do 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2, 1. So you can just plus 1 plus 2 3 times. How does that work? Like, is it guaranteed? It is. So if you get 1, you can just finish the whole way through. It's all, like, guaranteed. 14 frame startup. It's a high, though, but it transfers into a throw. So is that why I get the second hit guaranteed?
Hey, sugar.
Don't know how I did that. So on block, it's only -2. So I can just spam this out. And even though it's a high, like, let's see. It seems to jail. Yeah, it jails. So you can't even duck punish this. No, you can't sidewalk it because you're jailed. Let's try doing it and then stopping. So you can sidewalk it. I don't know. So it's a high. Obviously, it gets ducked. Alright. But coming out at 14 frames, it's unseeable. And you can spam this, so it can be predictable. Right? But if you just continue it, it goes into a mid. So if we just... It's -17 on block for the last hit. So you can spam the first 2 parts. You can spam 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2. But the one at the end, the third hit, is launch punishable. I wish I knew his guy's launch punish. I'll just have to record it. See? So you're actually locked in. So you can't duck it, you can't step as long as he's doing these punches. So you can, if you're thinking he's just gonna spam it again or he's gonna go into, like, I don't know, a high move afterwards, all you have to do is just hold down or hold whatever input you want to do. Because he could just do that and be safe. And just not follow through. You know what I mean? Hmm. What you could do, see how he just crouches? So if I, right, and it misses. Right. Okay. You can't flash it since it jails you, which means that whenever he's doing this, you just have to remember. All right, you just have to remember, like, you can't do anything. And the only reason this is hitting here is because I'm ending it early and not blocking. All right, because I'm close enough that if I were to do this and then try to press, he just gets the flash, right? But if you do the second one, since it still jails him, the whole thing jails. It pushes him farther away, so you can be safe up close for like a grab. So you can, right? Or you can do 1+2, 1+2, and be farther away. You know what I mean? We have forward 4-4. So you actually can beat this with a flash. If you're doing it as fast as you can, then it trades. But if the Leroy delays the last hit, then he loses. So you can delay the last 4, right? If you delay it, which is the last 4 is the heat engager. So forward 4 and then the 4. It's so hard to do this, I'm not gonna lie. You got forward, and the second hit is delayable, and it's a heat engager, right? If you don't press it fast enough, you actually trade. I mean, you actually get beat by flash. And let's see if he tries to interrupt. Can't. All right. So this string is uninterruptible. The problem is what follows, right, is a high. So if you do, right, you can crouch it. The question is there any extensions off of this? Because if you see him do this move, then automatically you can know heat engager could be following it, so you could duck. So I wonder if there's a mid version of this, right? But remember, this can be flashed. We got Sean Zui, so down 1+2. safe on block. Alright, so we make him jab. We can do 1+1, 1+2, down 1+2. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Where was I? Oh yeah, so 1+2, 1+2 sends you away. Right? This is the distance. It's jab distance, right? But when you do down 1+2, you kind of like lean back a bit. So, right? So, you just kind of step back, just a tad bit, right? And then it comes back and hits him. Alright. How did that not? You can't heat dash out of this? That's crazy. There's no heat dash for this. I was trying to do 1+2, 1+2 into down 1+2. Oh, that's gonna be so annoying to say. Into heat dash, but you actually can't. You can heat dash with this, but you can't heat dash with that. Huh. Anyway, this is 17 frames startup. So it's on the slower side. It enters you in a crouch, like slightly. So if you look where it says status, you can see that the status is technically changing. Right? It just slightly changes for like a split second. So it's a 17 frame move that enters you in a crouch but automatically exits you, right? It's a mid with good range. So from here, I'm hitting. There's no heat dash out of this, so all the stuff I would normally say about like, oh, you get hit with this, you die, isn't really true. It just sets up for a mix-up. So, right, I can run in, do whatever move I want, right? We got down back 1+. Come on, how many 1+2s do you have or need? It says has parry effect, partially restores remaining heat time when successful during heat, chip damage on block. So I'm going to put on the hub so I can see the heat. So this one. Oh, it does have actually give you back quite a bit of heat. There we go. It's actually a very good amount. The damage is pretty nice too. And then can I heat dash out of this? I actually can't heat dash out of this either. Oh, you can. So, was I just doing it wrong? Was I just doing this wrong? No. It's cool to know that you have like an automatic parry that you can use to enter heat. Alright. Plus 17. It's, let me turn off punish. It's minus 11 on block. So normally what I would call pseudo safe is like minus 10, but I think minus 11 is also pseudo safe because that means you only have 2 frames to visually realize something's unsafe. Like you have to pick up on it being unsafe immediately. So as soon as I do this, you need to be already pressing to attack. To show that this is how fast things to attack immediately after. It doesn't seem fast at all, but any amount of pause and you've already missed your window. Like any amount of pause and it's too late. We got during Hermit, which is 3+4. You do 1+2, 1. Which this is actually mad annoying. I see a lot of Leroy's do this, and like I said, I think Leroy's pretty bad because I haven't seen him a lot. Also, like there's the thing where he was too good in the last game, so they didn't want to make him good this time and annoy everybody. So I see a lot of Leroy's do this. They go into Hermit, and then do all this like punch stuff. Right? It works when you don't know what's going on. So Hermit, for example, this stance, you can't backdash because your legs up. You can't forward dash because your legs up. You can sidestep, right? But when they do this, they're stuck in this stance, and it doesn't end on its own. So if they just do this, this is where they're gonna be. If they put the controller down, they're stuck in this state forever, right? So it's one of those things where, like, if you're going into the stance, you're just gonna immediately press. Everyone knows you're going to immediately press, and it only changes. Like the idea, like, oh, they're going to immediately press, only changes when people get better and they're able to mentally frame trap you. It's kind of like when any of the Mishimas are wave dashing at you, you could just hit them because the wave dash, like, it doesn't mean anything. All it is like they're realigning with you, so you can't sidestep them. That's what a wave dash does. Wave dash stops you from sidestepping. Well, it shouldn't say stop. It counters your sidestep by constantly realigning with you, right? So if you're fighting Kazuya and you want to sidestep left to dodge all of his moves, the wave dash just stops that from working because they're constantly realigning by crouch dashing at you, right? There's a situation later when you become better at the game and you're fighting better opponents where you could do this and like, oh, he's gonna go for this fast option to try to like stop me from doing this. I'm gonna deal with it in this certain way, and you just do the opposite because you know for a fact that like people are used to Leroy's entering this stance and then immediately doing their option immediately. So this must be like one of the options. So if I do, so the 14 frame startup in the first place, right? Because it's a 1+2. So it's 14 frames into 17 frames, but it's launchable. So it's really just the second and third move of 1+2, 1+2, 1. Right? That's all it is. So it's just as launchable. And the thing is, since I have never labbed Leroy before, I have no clue about the frame data. And to watch a replay and go, oh, that's launch punishable is fucking meaningless when I'm never going to fight a Leroy. No, seriously, like, I've run into 3 Leroys in my lifetime of playing this game. 3. Out of all the Leroys that could possibly exist, I've only ran into 3. We got the Heat Smash. It says also possible during Hermit, which is the stance, or Twin Dragon Gate is successful. I'm not sure what Twin Dragon Gate is. Heat Smash shifts to throw, on block shifts to Hermit. Alright. If I do this right, automatically enters you in the Hermit for whatever mix up. And you're +6. Alright. So this is actually pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. Because having Heat Smashes with utility at the end, because essentially Heat Smashes are, I don't want to say broken. That's I don't want to say broken. Heat Smashes are strong because of the fact that, for example, with Yoshi, you can transition into a stance or not. And that stance is known. That stance's weakness is already known. For example, me. I don't know why I sing the song. If I do my Heat Smash, right? And I hold up On hit or on block, no matter what, it enters me into Dragonfly. Now, Dragonfly is a stance, so the amount of moves I can do from it are not only limited, they're well known, and very much importantly, they're slow. So the counterplay to this stance as a whole, which you would learn just by fighting Yoshimitsus and watching videos on Yoshimitsu and labbing them, you can figure out and know how to counter this stance entirely, right? So you know the options that come from this, or at least you like mostly should if you like did the work in lab. The point being, knowing that someone can go into this stance after their heat smash. How can I put this? It's strong because you get a stance mix up. Because you're plus. Because like when you do a heat smash, you're safe. Like you're just safe afterwards. So there's no reason not to. If you hit the heat smash, okay, good, you do damage. If you don't hit the heat smash, you get another chance for a mix up. Alright? You get another shot at like doing damage. You get to poke some more. Like you know what I mean? Because you're not negative. I think it gives you like +1 now. It used to be like +10, I think. So it's a +1, meaning either person can do almost anything. Almost. You're +1, so when it comes to jabs, you have the advantage. You can make the first move, but if you choose a slower move and they jab, you lose. Alright, so it's a rock paper scissors game, and then on top of that, you have a transition into your stance, which if the person hasn't labbed or they don't know some of the options, only gives you the advantage. So in a situation where I go and do my heat smash, right? I have a couple of options. Normally, the way you beat this is just by jabbing. You just float me and kill me. But me knowing that the most common known counterplay to Yoshi's Dragonfly stance is jab, would just do 2-4. Or if I wanted to continue, just 2-4 back, put the sword away. Right? You know what I mean? And then get that little mini combo, we're at the wall, blah blah. Fight for your life. Right? It's the same thing with every other character. Because you think you're it's the idea is okay, jab him out of Dragonfly, or if he does that trap, right? Essentially, you know, because hold on. Let's say I don't have heat, right? Do this. Can I do this? If I do 4, I hit you. You spend. Not that big of a deal. Right? That's if I don't have heat. That's the assumption. If I do 2-4, that's a high. You can duck that and then stand back up for the second hit. Right? If I do 1, you can visually see that it's none of the other options and stand back up before it hits you. Forward 1+2 doesn't hit you. There's 1, but you're already ducking low, so you can block it. And if it's the grab, you're ducking low, so it's a high move. It's gonna miss. So all of the options that I could hit you with essentially get negated just by you ducking and then standing back up, unless I do a delay, in which it's like, oh, what is he gonna do? Let me, because first of all, what I'm essentially saying is, when someone's immediately transitions into their stance, so you're thinking, oh, it's gonna be immediate. They're gonna press their button. They're gonna choose which option they go for immediately. The same with Leroy and his hermit stance, where it's like they're stuck in that stance. They can't defend themselves. They have to attack. It's the same thing with Yoshimitsu's Dragonfly. You have no choice. You have to attack. They have to choose immediately. So of course, when someone's defending, they're going to have to choose immediately in their mind. Most people try to fuzzy by ducking, so they duck a grab, stand back up so they don't get hit with the mid. It's a very valid idea. It's a very valid way of dealing with it because you can immediately fuzzy the grab and then ignore all the rest of the options, like 90% of them, because they're either a mid or a high, and the only low doesn't really do anything. That doesn't do anything. All right, you can take getting hit by that. Sure, I have advantage, so I can like go for another press to be +1 or like you know what I mean. But like, at what point does it really matter? Right, you took a little bit of damage, and you avoided everything else. And if the Yoshimitsu player, every time he goes in the Dragonfly, is doing this, eventually you're gonna block it and kill him. Eventually. In fact, if he's only going for this option, it's slow enough that you can jab him. So the point is, you can option select enough of the choices by doing a fuzzy or simply just choosing to deal with staying full crouch as your option until like later on when you think he's gonna adapt or change if you don't have the skill for a fuzzy. Right? Again, since that's immediate timing, the mind game comes in where it's like, okay, he's gonna fuzzy me, meaning he's going to stand back up immediately. I'll just wait half a second and then grab. Same thing with every other stance. Like, oh, like for even back to this one, it's like, oh, he's gonna stand back up eventually. Just wait half a second. He's trying to fuzzy me. Just wait half a second. You know what I mean? Like, you can just wait, but if you do it too long, then they adapt, right? If you do it too fast, then you catch them during their like when you don't catch them during their fuzzy, they duck you and then you die. The point of all of this that I'm bringing up is that the same thing for hermits. You can't defend yourself, so you have to choose an option. And a lot of your options are going to be beaten just by doing one, maybe two things, maybe even three, right? You can, because for example, with Dragonfly, you can sidewalk Dragonfly, you can duck Dragonfly, and you can jab at a Dragonfly. If there's that many options, for to beat Leroy's stance, then essentially there's going to be one general like cure all, well, almost cure all, that covers 90% of the options that people are going to do on an immediate timing to beat you. And you can either A, just choose the other option and hope that they don't make the right guess, or B, you can wait and try to catch them during their counterplay. So having a heat smash that forces them into in a scenario where their brain goes immediate timing, immediate solution, like immediate counterplay, and you can always just go. You can just always go. I don't. Oh, actually, never mind. I was gonna say because with Yoshimitsu, let's see. With Yoshimitsu, he has the option to go into it by holding up, but he could just simply not. He could just not hold up. So it's a game. So it's a mix of like, oh, he's doing his heat smash. Is he going into stance? Right. Oh, my bad. Is he going into stance to do something, or is he just gonna like not press any buttons and just be able to go for an unblockable sweep or a grab or like I don't know, be +4? Like you get the point, right? It's all in like a setup of okay, he's doing his heat smash. It's a 50-50 between Dragonfly stance and standing, which means he can do a bunch of other things. And you have to decide immediately what's going on. You have to wait and see. If he's in Dragonfly, you have to decide immediately. So you can essentially flow from heat smash into Dragonfly into 2-4 into like whatever combo at the wall, right? Into unblockable low, right? Maybe he gets up mid and you want to do some bullshit, blah blah blah, hop me. Like you get the point, right? And then next round, you can do pretty much the same thing, but this time instead of going into Dragonfly, you don't do that and you duck. Because remember, they like to jab out Dragonfly. They like to fuzzy Dragonfly, and you can do that. Or you can land hop knee. Or unblockable sweep. Or you know, trip. Or hold on, that wasn't that long ago. Actually, that's actually a valid one too. Monty spin kick into 1-1-1-1-1 into like mix up if they press. Like you get the point. It's all about subverting their expectations and taking advantage of whatever they're not blocking with. The problem with Leroy, at least as far as his heat smash, is that he doesn't have that setup. It's always Hermit. It's always Hermit. Meaning if he doesn't have a fast option that beats everything, he loses immediately. So let me look at moves list, okay? And then we go to Hermit. We'll skip ahead to Hermit. Here we go. So like he has to have a fast and safe option. That's the crux of it. He has to have a fast and safe option. Because imagine if you had no safe options, but they were all fast. It would be like cool. He has to choose and guess. All right. The second he guesses correctly, you die. And when you're at your lower levels, you really do have favorites. So we have Hermit 1, right? Has a parry effect. In fact, I want to practice settings, punish. So Hermit 1 is 24 frames. Alright. Wow, he didn't press. I'm turning off punish. So Hermit 1, 24 frames, and it's -10. So it's completely unsafe and leaves you right next to the person. Right? It's pseudo safe. Because if they aren't fast enough, they just miss. Alright. So at 24 frames, and you're +6 off the heat smash, right? That means 24 -6 is 18. That means any move they do that's 18 frames and faster either trades or beats you. So there's a lot of moves they can do to just essentially stop you from whatever game plan you're doing. Like, let me do punish, and then we'll turn off the jab. Let's see if we can get this to work. Okay, yeah, it works. Yeah, you just lose to a 15 frame launcher with this one. It has a parry effect, meaning if they do an option that's too fast, you can beat them. So let's do so we do activation cancel. We just gotta wait like a second. I'm trying to get the parry to activate. Maybe I have to spam it? I don't know why. There we go. So if you time it correctly, then sure, you can parry, right? The problem is that timing seems to be very precise. And if you're using it as an option out of heat, if you're using it as an option out of heat, right? Like you're using the heat smash Hermit it being minus 10 isn't that big of a deal. I'm not gonna lie. Like, sure, there's someone like Law with 111 into Heat Dash and you die, but for most people, they just get like damage and it's their turn. Right? They just take their turn. Um, yeah, this is just slow, but again, it's access through a stance, so it's whatever. We have Hermit 2-1, which is actually, let me think about the last move was a middle, was a mid, which is important. It's very important to note what the during like a stance mix up if something's a mid or a high. All right, so this is a mid on hit. Let's see what it does because that's also important. It's important to know what things do on hit. So on hit, this is we're talking about Hermit 1, by the way. It's 0 on hit, meaning you can immediately start doing an armored move after you get hit by this and beat whatever my follow up choice is. Like immediately. And the reason I know this for a fact is armored moves become armored on frame 8. Fastest move in the game is like 10 frames. Fastest generic move is 10 frames. So that means I'm not able to hit you in time in order to stop you from armoring up. My move has to hit you before frame 8 of your move, which just isn't happening. So if you have a safe armored move, you can just beat this option of Hermit 1 since it's 0 on block. I mean 0 on hit, and on block it's completely negative. Which is kind of crazy. On hit you get no advantage, but when it's blocked, you just give up your turn entirely and you're punishable. And some people get a mix up off their 10 frame. Right? So let's see. Actually, well, there's still more to talk about there. If you do Hermit 1, you can see it does only 18 damage, right? Which isn't that big of a deal. It's a mid. And it's still slow, so you can beat this option. And it's unsafe on block. This move is just almost not worth it. And like the only thing kind of going for it is the parry effect. But even then, so like it has subpar damage. It's 0 on hits, so you can get beat out when you hit this move. You can basically be punished for using it. Like I don't know. We got Hermits 2-1. I mean 2-3. So it's a 12 frame, which is good. This is actually really good. So we have Hermit 2 being 12 frame. It's safe on block. And then 2-3. Hermit 2-3. The 3 is also a high. Meaning you can duck it as well. It's also safe on block. So this is good. You have a very fast option that is safe on block. The problem is they're both highs. Like you just once you get to a high enough level, everyone's punishing you. Cause like what? Let me see. Sense, record, right? Something like that. Or they just like hop near you because you're recovering. So if I do offense again. Forward. Oh shit, I stood up. It would look like Defense, record. Fuck, I keep forgetting to hold down. I'm an idiot right now. There we go, I did it early enough. I should be able to. See? You get the point. If they call out that you're going to do that move, like let's say they just say fuck it, I'm a duck anyway. I don't care. I'm just gonna duck. Cause Hermit 1 doesn't do that much damage. He has no advantage on it. And if I lose to it, so be it. So fucking be it. Then simply they could see you do the move, know that there's another high following up, and then get to punish you, right? And the only thing we can do to make sure is do Hermit 1. Yeah, so even on crouch, Hermit 1 is 0 on hit. So that means to beat, if you're only thinking about these two moves, you could just simply crouch down, take the hit from Hermit 1, and then go from there. Because if you see that he likes to attack afterwards, you can get a free armored move. Or you can, since Hermit 1 separates you, and he has a lot of high moves, you could duck and then do some form of like armored. You can do like a sweep. You know what I mean? What it means though that Hermit 2 is 12 frames is that during Heat Smash, right, when you're +6, the fastest response they have is 16 frames. Because you're +6. Right? That means if I make him jab, I hit him before he can hit me. Because the first move is 12 frames. He quite literally cannot respond in time. Meaning, this is purely a frame trap. Purely a frame trap. Which is a very nice option to have. Even though I said the other things earlier about they're both being high and you die if they get called out, and people tend to use the same frame traps over and over, it's still good to have a frame trap at all. Because if you didn't have a frame trap, then like essentially with like your stance kinda, I don't want to say it falls apart because I don't know much about the game in the first place, but you don't have anything to hold people accountable. Like in Dragonfly for Yoshimitsu, 2-4 is the frame trap. It makes people stop jabbing you out and like floating you and killing you for it, like going into Dragonfly. And it gives you some damage, and then you can, carry them to a wall a little bit, like get a little bit of carry, and then you can set up Oki, right? It also enforces the idea of, hey, if I want to punish him from doing this move, I have to duck or I have to sidewalk, which makes your other tools better, right? Because it forces them into, I'm tired of him doing this move, I have to beat it, or I want to beat it, I have to do either a sidewalk or I have to duck, right? Or I have to do an armored move. And then, of course, that forces me to have a response to that response. And then you'll have a response to my response. And it changes my response depending on your response, and your response depending on my response. And it's a back and forth. For example, if I do Dragonfly 2-4, because I know that you're going to try to jab me out. Because I know you're going to jab me out, right? it's gonna force you to go, okay, either I duck, sidewalk, like I said before. Let's say we go with duck, because that's most people's choice. So you duck, stand back up, blah blah blah. But it's not working. Because you're not getting a punish, you're just not dying. You're just not getting hit with anything. So you go, fuck it, I'm a power crush. That's just gonna go through and be his option. Well, then I'm gonna do Dragonfly 3+4, which grabs you, beating your power crush. And you're thinking, I don't want to get hit with that over and over, so I have to beat it. So you duck, and when you start ducking, I do Dragonfly 4, which is a heat engager. So if I'm already in heat, I'm just gonna do a heat dash. Like, I mean, you get the point. And then if you're like, oh, I don't want to get hit with a heat engage, I want to get hit with like a heat engager or a heat dash, I'm going to sidewalk. Then I do Dragonfly 1+2. I mean, not 1+2. Do Dragonfly forward 2. Right, very fucking slow. Right, limited range, but it's a very good sidestep counter. Right, and let's say for shits and giggles that you're not sidestepping and you just go, well, I don't want to get grabbed anymore. I don't want to get. I mean, not, I don't want to get grabbed. I don't want to get hit with this heat engager. I'm just gonna stand. I have the grab. I can just do the grab. But the grab is slow. You can jab me out. Yes. But then you have to take the chance that I do the frame trap. But then the frame trap is a high into a mid. You can just sidewalk. I have this move. Or I can simply just do a mid. So if you try to duck, I can hit you with it. And if I'm wrong and I'm already in heat, I still get a mix-up. Maybe a blockable launcher, maybe bad breath, which are... Listen, they're still dealt by doing the same thing. You beat bad breath and you beat this move by doing the same thing. You can sidewalk, you can back up, and you can hop knee. Both of those options. There's this launcher, right? There's run up hop knee. So you just essentially get a mix of whatever moves and animations that I have, blah, 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 right? That is essentially what happens whenever someone's using a stance. That's the mental game of like, what option is he using? Oh, he's using Dragonfly stance. What does he have out of those? And how do I beat generally most of them? This frame trap keeps them in a certain like mental game. Because the only part where someone's be like, yeah, but that stance isn't good, is if they go, oh, you have to wait for them to like do something else before you change. What if they like just change all of a sudden? That's why you take guesses. That's why you'll do something like Dragonfly 4 twice. And if you're right both of those times, the third time you go into it, they're mentally probably going to go, okay, let's just stand. Go for a grab. And if you're wrong, they're either stupid or they're like, they know enough to go, he's probably going to swap. Like, he's probably going to change it up. You know what I mean? He's probably going to, like, make an adjustment to try to, like, guess, like, you know what I mean? And if you're wrong, you're wrong. And you know if they, one, are either stupid or they've been thinking. And if they're stupid, then you could just go for, you know, 4 again. If you're wrong, so what? You know what I mean? And if they start jabbing you, okay, do the frame trap. And if they start respecting the frame trap, you can go back to the grab. Hell, you can even do the low with the spin kick, right? You can do all sorts of crazy stuff. And you're +6 when you hit the low, so they can't do anything. In fact, does it enter you in a crouch? No, it doesn't. Hell, you can take that +6 of advantage, automatically go into crouch if I can do it correctly. I'm gonna keep sidestepping by accident. Force him into crouch. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of what you can do. With Leroy, having something that goes, hey, you're gonna have to duck. Because these are both highs. Let me turn off punish. These are both highs. So it's essentially saying, hey, if you want to beat this, you have to duck. And the reward for it is you get to kill him. And that's an important part, because if Yoshimitsu's Dragonfly didn't have so many weaknesses, right? If it didn't have so many weaknesses, then essentially it would be, I don't want to say a god one. That's not, I don't think it'd be like a god stance. But it wouldn't be as interesting to use. Having to deal with so many options, like seeing someone go, I'm just gonna sidewalk your Dragonfly, is always so cool to me. Because no one's doing it at this level except them. So just simply go, he's doing Dragonfly, I'm just gonna sidewalk. Because now I get to use more of my tools. Having this rock, paper, scissors gameplay of like, I keep using rock, paper, scissors, even though that's mostly used derogatory, I'm using it as like a good thing. Right? It's putting in a scenario where I have to think, which choices are he gonna make in this next run up, so it isn't brain dead, so it isn't mindless. And having a frame trap that influences someone's behavior that's safe, like 2-4 on Dragonfly, like 2-3 from Hermit, essentially keeps the, I don't want to say balance. It keeps the game going. It's hard to describe. I want to say honest. It honestly feels like the right word to use, but I don't want to use it wrong. You know what I mean? We have Hermit 3-4, which is a low at 16 frames, does 8 damage, into a 22 frame follow up. And leaves you +1. So this does 25 damage in total, right? And it's a low. So let's see if I key charge on counter hit. It's only a little bit more damage. You're still +1. So at 16 frames. So essentially 10 frames off the heat smash. So if I do, because you're +6 when you do your heat smash. That means they have to do a 10 frame move or faster to beat you doing this run. This isn't a counter hit tool. It's completely like, it's a fast option, right? Meaning if someone's gonna be stand blocking, like they're not ducking your Hermit 2-3. Even though this is safe, if they're not ducking it, this does nothing. Even though this does chip, it's like that amount of chip isn't anything. Right? Right? So that's a decent amount of chip. But like, you did nothing. You accomplished actually nothing here. Sure, you probably pushed them back, maybe to the wall. But since you've gained nothing, you've actually dealt almost nothing, like no real damage, because all that's recoverable. It's like, I shouldn't say no real damage. It just feels like you're not getting anywhere. Because you've given up your turn, like fully, by being -9 from doing Hermit 2-3. and you're right in front of them. Meaning they could do almost anything. They can go for low kicks, they can crouch jab, like they can dick jab. While this is fast, right? 16 frames, you're +6 off the heat smash, so they have to do a 10-frame job immediately to either trade, punish, to either trade or beat you, right? So heat smash, see, it trades. Trades. You have the advantage at +5, so you can go for a 1+2 again, and it reaches. But at the same time, it's like it's an underwhelming move, but it's one of those like brick and mortar sort of joints. It's like one of those moves where it's like this serves a purpose. You can put it here, and this like sort of line of thought or a string or like whatever the word for it is, like you can put these strings together as bricks to build something. And what you're essentially building is, if they want to beat this move, they have to jab immediately. They can't use anything else. They can't use an 11 frame, not a 12 frame, not a 13, not a 15. They have to use it immediately. All right. And we have like a move like Hermit 1 that can be beaten with a jab if you do it immediately. We have a move like Hermit 3 that can be beaten with a jab immediately, right? So there's 2 moves out of the 3 where it's like, if I want to beat this move, all I gotta do is jab, right? That's the message being put out there. That just jab it, and you'll be fine, right? See? See? But if you go into 2-3, you frame trap it. So Yoshimitsu's Dragonfly makes you want to duck. Like, it makes you want to duck a lot. Like, it really makes you want to duck. And I'm guessing this makes you want to press. Even the damage on this move isn't even that good, being only 25 when you get the full thing, and it doesn't wall splat either. Maybe if I bring to the wall. And that just leaves you +1, so it doesn't launch, it doesn't do anything. So if I just have him, no, because it's not gonna work. We're gonna put him on punish. Well, if you just use your heat, you won't be able to do that, and you can't even rage, I don't think. So far these 3 moves, Hermit 2-3 and Hermit 3-4, they don't have any like functionality of like that doesn't do anything because it's your own block. Like, I don't know. There's a use for these. I just don't know what it is. So we have Hermit 4. It shifts into Hermit, 11 frames. it's -7 on block, right? On hits, it's +7, which actually is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It's actually pretty decent. So an 11 frame move. So essentially, think about this way. Think about this way. Dragunov Sneak 4 is +7 on block, right? And leaves him in his standing state. +7 means that you would have to have a 3 frame move just to even hit him. No. You would have to have a 3 frame move just to trade with a jab. So you're not able to fight back. And a lot of frame traps in the game that are meant to stop you from able to respond, right? They're built around the concept of having just enough plus frames to make one of the moves in that stance or toolkit uh, be able to beat out all your other options. So if you tried to press, you'd lose. And with that being the case, that advantage they get off of interrupting you is usually like a combo into Oki, right? But that usually requires, like for example with Raven, if you do 4-1 on a -13 frame move, right? Like -13 move, blah, blah, blah. You go into back turn, and I think you're like +7. So you can do a frame trap into like a good combo, right? Raven has moves that enter him into back turn while he's already in back turn. I can't remember the frame data, but all I know is 4-1 enters him into back turn, right? And it gives him advantage enough for a mix up. And it's like, I think 12 frames fast. So you would use that to punish -12 and beyond moves, right? To go into one of your main stances to frame trap to get a big combo. So you're +7 whenever you hit this 11 frame move. So it's beating everything because it's already super fast. It's already basically a jab. And it doesn't exit you from your stance. So you can go for a mix up. I think this is nice. And then with the extension, it wall splats. I shouldn't say wall splat. It launches, but alright. It launches for 41 damage already. So simple combo would be if I could. Alright, 63 damage, pretty nice. Alright. And then you can immediately go, if he blocks that, you can immediately go for a mix-up. Alright. Essentially, the reason I'm trying to break this down is because I like this idea of having a move and a stance that self-refers to the stance again that gives advantage on hit. Like, for example, Yoshimitsu has Kucho 4. It's a high homing move, right? But you can go immediately back into Kencho. And if you're at the wall, I'm pretty sure if you hit this move, I was gonna say it wall splats. Maybe I have to be this way. Yeah, it does. So it wall splats if you're right to the side of the wall. If you have a wall to the side of you on the way he gets kicked to, he gets wall splatted. Meaning you can do something like, right, on get up, blah blah blah. You get like an easy like if you hit it cheese moment. If you don't hit it, then you just do whatever. You can flash with Kento too, so you can simply right. So you can actually flowchart using this move that goes back into Kento. That allows you to have a homing option, and that homing option doubles as a way to like immediately go back into Kensho once you've checked them to keep the pressure up. It's a very creative tool, and I enjoy things like this. Anything that's like self-referential when it comes to stances, where it's like, yeah, you could leave the stance anytime you want, but you can use this move for two purposes. Some other purpose to help with the kit generally, and also a way to go back since most moves are going to force you out of the stance. I much prefer that than moves that just lock you into stance as a prerequisite, and then you have to force your way out of it. Like if there was a way specifically of like the move, like for example with Raven, when you're in back turn, it doesn't. It keeps you in back turn. So what ends up happening is that if you're inexperienced with Raven, right, or hell, even if you're intermediate, hell, even if you're a pro, there's times where you'll be back turned and you'll get clipped by something like a hit, and that gives them advantage. And you'll try to turn around, but you get hit before you can turn around again, and then it just snowballs, right? So with Raven, you have to play extra careful. While when you're playing Yoshimitsu, if you get hit while back turn, I think sometimes it turns you around. And the thing is, the reason it turns you around more than not, well, at least I'm not saying the hits, but the reason why Yoshimitsu can turn around more often than not is because if he holds back, he just turns around. He just guards. Raven doesn't have that. It's a very unique character design to have that sort of setup, and I'm not asking them to change it, even though because I'm not long enough of a Raven player to tell what damage that would do to his kit, or whether or not that'd be a meaningful change to his gameplay that would be favorable to the people who play him. Because like, why would I go to I don't know Alaska and start changing their way of life and start telling them how to do their things? They've lived there the longest. I haven't. So why would I go to a Ravens, you know, Discord and be like, hey, they should definitely make it that if you get hit, it just turns you around automatically. It would be a really nice touch of like quality of life, but these characters have been around for literally like 10 plus years. They've existed in these manners for years. I'm not sure what changing something like that would mean for the franchise or for the character. And it sounds like I'm stretching it, but I'm not. Because if they can change whether or not Raven turns around when he gets hit automatically, they can start really fucking with shit. They can make things that have been in games the way they are for years that you love change drastically. Like imagine they made it that electrics were mids, like just all of them. They were all mids, so you couldn't duck them, right? And imagine they made it that all of them could be like you get a perfect electric wind god fist from standing by one button. You would think like I don't know about that. I don't think that'd be wise. And obviously, the Electric Wind Godfist is such an extreme example. But if they're allowed to change characters' weaknesses, I guess a better example would be like, what if they made it to like Kazuya had like good poking and on top of his good damage? I mean, what if they made it to like he was no longer weak to the left? Do you get what I mean? Obviously, the Raven one is such a small problem that you could even consider it not a problem and like a character weakness or a character flaw intentionally there to balance them. So if they wanted to make it that you get what I'm saying. Like if they changed it that he exited back turn when he got hit at all, would that like be too much? Would that be making the character too easy? Making it too easy? No, that's not true at all. It wouldn't make the character too easy. All right, you still have to do all the other bullshit. But I'm wondering if that's even something other people would want, and I'm wondering if that's even something that would, you know, really be needed. Because again, I don't play Raven that much. So, like I was saying, we have Hermit 4 just returns you to the stance, right? 11 frames, you're +6 off the heat smash. So that means the fastest they can respond is 16. You're going to hit this move if they try. In fact, let's just show it. You gotta press it immediately though. Alright. So now I'm +7 in stance, can do whatever if they try to press again. Because it does look like nothing. Right, launches. But so it just launches normally, meaning you can. Hold on. If it hits the wall, maybe. I just wish it like spiraled them. And then at the wall, you could hit this if you aren't trash. Yeah. Right. So this move, so like Hermit 4, 1+2, and Hermit 2, 3 are gonna be your 2 frame traps. And the thing is, let me turn off. This is a mid. So it's gonna be a mix between Hermit 2, 3 and Hermit 4. Because you can check and see what happens. Alright, you can be like, Hermit 4, what happens? And just like block. Hermit sidestep. Alright, you're -7, so you could get hit. But if they don't fully expect what's to come, then, you know, obviously they could be late. Like they may have like mental frames. So it's -14 for the 1+2 part. The second hit's -14. That that means you can get heat engager there. So like using it as a check is inherently unsafe when you finish the string. Like that's a guaranteed back 2-2, which into heat dash combo. We have Hermit 1+2 1, which is launch punishable and a heat engager. We've covered this before. 14 frame startup. So what that would look like since it's 14, it's funny because I was expecting a stance transition for this character, but I didn't expect most of the options for the stance transition to automatically beat all of mine. Like in a sense, I didn't expect it to be like so far. There's Hermit 1, which you can interrupt with a jab. There's Hermit 3, 4, you can interrupt with a jab. All right, they're slow. You can beat because I think it's like you can launch Hermit 1. You can launch it because it's that slow, right? Um, In fact, let me go back to Hermit 1 to prove my point. So Hermit 1, 24 frames, right? That means if I change it, that on Heat Smash I do Hermit 1, I get launched, right? If I do Hermit 2 4, you can't jab it, you can't interrupt it, it's too fast. If I do Hermit 3 4, you launch. Let me do it again to make sure. Nah, Hermit 3 4 is beating it. But you don't get much, right? So you can stop a launch with Hermit 3 4, but you still get jabbed out of it. So if someone's doing Hermit 1, you can just jab them out of the choice if they just consistently do it. If they're doing 3 4, then you can just jab them. You know what I mean? Hermit. Yeah, with like Hermit 4, it's just unsafe on block. And since you're -7 with no way to back up, like you can only sidestep. And the amount of time a sidestep takes to do, you're actually launch punishable. Yeah, you're just fucked. Meaning if someone does Hermit 4 alone, you can launch punish it, but it's a bait. It's just a bait. Think about this one. When I do this, he can launch me. But if I finish the string and he tries to interrupt, he gets flung. But he doesn't get launched high enough for me to get a combo. It's just to punish him for trying to attack me. Right? If I do on Heat Smash, right, it's a frame trap. So, like I've been saying before, these two moves are gonna be the ones you use for safety, and you could probably just like, if you do this, you're just dead. You're just dead. If you raw transition, no plus frames into Hermit, and do a kick, do Hermit 4, and someone knows that like you're stuck in that stance afterwards, they're just gonna kill you. So you're gonna have to finish the string. But if they're patient, then you're -14, and sure you don't get launched and die, but you kind of like get heat engager dash and die. So we got Hermit 1+2 1. We've heard this one before. Launchable on block. The first part safe. And since it's 14, so let's do stand block. Ah shit! I changed it from stand block to just standing. So what I was saying before is that Hermit 1 is jabbable because it's slow. It's even launchable, so you're probably not going to use that one, right? It's a mid, but you have even better mids. We have I was gonna say Hermit 4 is a better mid, but that's not true. It's actually such a bad idea if you don't know if they're gonna press. Using Hermit 4 1+2 is it's just so bad. It's just such a bad move. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't even give you decent reward for using it. So the risk reward at like is off. So the only thing that I even like is Hermit 2 3. but that's double high, so you die if you use that. But it's a frame trap. So both Hermit 2-3 is a frame trap. It's 12 frames, and Hermit 4 1+2 is good because it refers back to itself in the stance if you just do 4, and you're +7. So if you hit Hermit 4, you get a mix back into Hermit. I mean, you can do Hermit 4 into Hermit 4 into something else if they respect you now, which I think is nice, but it's such a hard call out because of how negative it is. And with Hermit, like 1+2 1 being the same 1+2 1 from the beginning, and it's 14 frames, you can frame trap this because you're gonna be +6, right? And it's a heat engager. So if you do the first part, like let's say you do Hermit 4, you're +7. That and they can't disrespect if you hit Hermit 4 because you have this move. Essentially, you can do this into Hermit, into like Hermit 1+2 1 if they try to disrespect again, into Heat Engager, into whatever like mix up you want to do. And if that hits, then you could probably like run up to Hermit 4 again. And then like the point is there's mixes to be had. It just doesn't seem to be like numerous. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like a lot of other characters where it's like, what a dickhead, bruh. Alright. 1+2 1. Stop texting me, bruh. Stop texting me, bruh. Anyway. So if this move is blocked just by standing, which is people's default stance in this game, they just stand block, right? You gotta make them crouch. So they just stand block. If they block this, at least the first part, at least the first part. Okay. At least the first part, right? You're safe. This, safe. And when you're doing it from Hermit, it's the second one, right? It's 1+2, but it's the 1+2 that sends you away. Right? See the distance? It's not the first one, it's the second one. So it's basically shortcutting to the second move in that string. Right? That's pretty simple. I don't know, I keep repeating it so much. I'm bad at this. It sends you at a distance where you can still get jabbed, but you could also Hermit 1+2 send back. Oh, he's doing the wrong one. He's not doing the jab. So I can do Hermit 1+2, sends him away. Alright, Hermit 1+2, down 1+2. So like you can choose your moves wisely and flow between them. And I think if you're gonna be a good Leroy, you have to be good. Like you can't crutch it like with like Law. You can't crutch it with like who else is crutch? Like Dragonov. Like, you know what I mean? And the thing is, I don't know enough about Nina to say she's crutch or not, so I'm not gonna bring her up because I don't know. Even though I do find fighting Nina's annoying because I don't know any of their moves because I only fight like 3 of them, so I'll be damned if I lab. Yeah, we already know what this move does. We have Hermit forward 1. Why he takes me again? Hermit forward 1, which is a high. So we go from a high option. Right, let's turn off punish. So if we're really counting all the options we have here from Hermit, we have Hermit 1, a mid. Why is my headset battery always low? A mid. We have Hermit 2, a high into a high. Hermit 3, a low into a lackluster mid. Or at least I think it's a mid. Right? And then we have Hermit 4, which is a mid, which is basically unsafe. Right? And then we have Hermit 1+2, which is another high. Actually, in this version, the first hit is a mid, when the regular version is just all highs. So what that means is stand block, crouch block. See, this doesn't hit, but if I'm in Hermit, it does hit. So you can use this as an option if they think, oh, I'm a duck. You can just use Hermit 1+2. And every time this hits, it restores. Alright, we got Hermit forward 1, which is a high. It's 0 on block, 14 frames, single hit. On hit, you're plus 15 though. This is kind of it doesn't do that much damage, but it wall splats, meaning you have basically a frame trap for the wall. I mean, I guess you use the other ones would probably be better. The question is, on block, how much does it do? So it's 0 on block, so it's completely safe, while simultaneously being rewarding on block. So it spins him, leaving you at plus 15. So you could, if they're like very aggressive, you could do something like deep smash, forward 1. Hold on, I did it wrong. Forward 1, Ant-Man 4, and if they press when you go raw Ant-Man and it hits, you just get another mix-up. And if you're at the wall, you can do full combo into whatever rage art, you know what I mean? So I actually like this move, 14 frames plus minus the 6. They're just not going to be able to beat it. They're just not. Basically, what I'm getting is that if Leroy does this, you can't fight him. You can't fight him. Is you saying Leroy does this, you can't fight him, feels lazy to say, because it is. There's definitely options. I bet some of these are steppable. In fact, let's try that. So if I do... Right, so that's the right. Let's to sidewalk left. Can't sidewalk left either for that one. Can't sidewalk that. Can't sidewalk that. You can sidewalk that one though. Can sidewalk that one though. Can sidewalk that. So the beginning ones. So Hermit 1, Hermit 2, 3, Hermit 3, 4, and Hermit 4. Actually, you can't sidewalk Hermit 4. You can sidewalk a bunch of the beginning options, but for the most part, Hermit 4, Hermit 1 plus 2, Hermit Forward 1 are not sidewalkable. And it's bad enough to the point where they don't seem to give enough reward. Like Hermit 1 being plus 15 off of a hit, sure, but it's actually plus 16 here. Being plus 16 is, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of advantage. You can start doing like an unblockable from there, but I wonder how much of that advantage is eaten up in like transition. You know what I mean? Let me plug in my headphones. Probably have to pause this and do it later.